So, today I'm super excited because we're talking about one of my favorite designers. Alexander McQueen is definitely probably in my top 10 list. I generally sort of admire older brands because I'm a history buff and I love sort of the old history of how brands may have gotten started in the 1800s or early 1900s. But Alexander McQueen sort of came on the scene in the 90s and really just changed the trajectory of the fashion industry just from his artistry, his design, his point of view. He's really made a lasting mark on the fashion industry. We sadly lost him in 2010 when he took his own life shortly after his mother passed, but his presence and his design aesthetic and his influence is still very heavily present in the Alexander McQueen brand, and it lives on. So just to give you a quick little recap of the show this season, I watched it a few times. I think I probably watched it about 6 or 7 times because it really gave me sort of this serene feeling. It was definitely a very earthy vibe. One of the first things that you notice when you either look at the pictures or you watch the show is there was these big heaps of dirt strategically placed throughout the presentation space. Before the show got started, once the lights went down and the music queued up, there was these very sort of foresty sounds and you hear birds chirping. Personally, I'm an earth sign myself, so I really sort of connected to it spiritually. It just kind of reminded me of earthing. I don't know if you all have experienced earthing, but if you haven't, you should try it. Go outside, take off your shoes, just take a walk in the grass and really get connected with the earth. One of the biggest overall themes was mushrooms. So in a lot of the knitted pieces, you can see actual mushrooms sort of knitted into the sweaters. They definitely showed colors that were reminiscent that you typically find in wild mushrooms. So like that red, the green, the yellow, a little bit of the black, of course. And also some of the sweaters had like lots of strings and sort of like tattered yarns hanging off of it that was very reminiscent of what sort of mycelium looks like. And mycelium is that like network of sort of roots that connect the trees to the other trees in the forest, and really just that whole thought process of like we're all connected as living beings, as human beings, as you know, here on the earth. It just really kind of gave me this great feeling. A couple of other things to note, there were definitely tons of elements that make it truly McQueen. We saw zippers, which we typically see in Alexander McQueen. We saw lots of that artistic hand. You know, he's very famous for using sort of that painted on artistic hand look. Also, we saw a lot of looks with that cocoon shoulder, which Alexander McQueen is so famous for. At this point, we definitely see it season over season. But there was one little itching thing that was a little bit different this time. Well, one thing that I would say before I even get into that, I would say this show was probably one of the more tame Alexander McQueen shows that I've seen in a really long time. Anybody that follows Alexander McQueen, we know that a lot of times he definitely wasn't afraid to sort of push the envelope and really give you that contrast between really beautiful things and cherishing the woman's body, but then also sort of this dark, monstrous side to it as well, which gave us Savage Beauty. And actually, pause, I know I'm digressing a lot, but that was actually, I want to say, one of the last exhibits that I saw at the Met was the Savage Beauty exhibition a long time ago. No, actually it wasn't the last, but it was one of the last. But it was one that made a really good impression on me, a really big impact on me, just creatively. And whenever I try to go to the Met exhibits, I try to buy the museum coffee table book, and that's one that's always front and center on my coffee table. And I find myself sort of looking through it. I've had it for years, but I still sort of finger through it just to get inspiration and really just to be transformed into this artistic place in the mind of Alexander McQueen. But anyway, sorry for my rant. Thank you for my TED Talk. But back to the fall 2022 fashion show. Well, the one thing that I was really excited about was the fact that it returned to New York. So this is the third time Alexander McQueen will be showing in New York. The first time was in 1996. The second time was in 1999, and then now in 2022 is the third time. So really exciting to sort of welcome the brand back, as if I'm on the welcome committee. But, you know, again, definitely gave you London underground style. And again, all those things that we know is true to Alexander McQueen. But back to the little sticking thing that I couldn't help, this overwhelming feeling. So back to when the show started, and I mentioned before that when it opened up, you heard the sounds of the birds chirping, and you see the mountains of dirt sort of strategically placed. And then the first model walks out, and then all of a sudden, sort of the music drops, and it just gives you this really like 80s soft rock vibe. I'm not sure what song it is. I need to Google it or Shazam it or whatever, but I bet you it's a song that was from the 80s. If not from the 80s, definitely the late 70s, because it just kind of gave me that sort of 80s vibes when you sort of watch 80s movies, and it just really sort of gave me that vibe. So that was the first thing that I noticed. And as I was just watching the show, I was like, oh my God, like this whole show is really giving me 80s vibes. And I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe if I ever have a conversation with Sarah, I will definitely ask her. The first big theme that I noticed was the power suit. And you can't talk about the 80s without talking about the power suit. And we know that power suit really sort of embodied this sort of oversized feel. A lot of people could argue that it was, you know, women sort of wearing these menswear looks, but it was really all about empowerment and women taking back their power, and women going to the workplace and saying, you know, we're just as important and just as smart, and we can generate just as much revenue as the men do, and we're gonna wear suits that say so. You may have seen some images or some movies or some music videos that sort of showed off that 80s look, but it was all about the shoulder pads. It was sort of this oversized look, which actually overall this season is a big theme. A lot of the shows that I'm gonna talk about this season definitely sort of embody that oversized theme, but particularly here, when talking about the power suit, it was generally oversized, and like I said, it was all about the shoulder pads. So this first look is a power suit in this lime green color, this beautiful, beautiful, vibrant lime green color that really just reminded me of like the greenest, the grass is greener on the other side, was sort of the vibe that it gave me as it was coming down the runway. And one of the things that I really like about these suiting looks is, although there are some characteristics that really sort of make it traditional suiting, I love how everything was just a little bit like off-centered. Everything was just a little bit crooked, you know, and a lot of these looks, the left side didn't look like the right side. And again, that was just kind of like that cool, quirky way that Alexander McQueen and Sarah and the brand sort of just gives that little bit of quirk to every look. So again, one of the biggest thing that drawn me to this particular look is the color. Now this next look, going along with the power suit theme, is in all black. The way that I like it, anybody that knows me knows that 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find me in all black. I always argue, but it's not always just about the color. It's also about the details. It's not just black. It's black satin, or it's black sparkle, or it has texture, or it's asymmetrical, or it has a really cool shape. But this look in all black I really love because it's a take on the suit, and it's a suit dress. And what I love about this is the little side cutout detail that bears a little skin. And I know we've seen for a couple of seasons, not only Alexander McQueen, but even other designers, and even trickle down to department store, is this idea of this blazer with the cutouts on the side. I think it's a really cool way to do that traditional look. For one, I can tell you when I started my career, I hated wearing suits. Once I really sort of got into fashion more and saw that there were lots of more interesting elements that you could bring to a suit, whether it's puff sleeves or a crop suiting jacket or a suit dress, then I was like, okay, this is not so bad. I guess I could put on one of these. But no, this one is probably one of my favorite looks of the whole collection, again, because it's professional, it's sassy, she looks serious, she looks like she's about her business, but she also has a little fun. The next power suit is really fun, and as I mentioned in the beginning, this is one of the looks that really sort of gave that artsy feel, that like street art, almost graffiti kind of feel to it, and which is true to Alexander McQueen, and the colors here are really great. Again, using that green, that lime, that lemon lime, yellowish, greenish color here, which is really, really cool. And again, this is just one of those cooler suits that I wouldn't mind putting on for an interview, especially in the fashion world where you can be a little bit more eccentric and a little bit more different. So this one was just sort of an honorable mention, and I think it just looked really, really great. I think this is one that will photograph really, really well. I can see it being very editorial, and yeah, I think we'll see more of this. So the next theme that we're going to talk about for the Alexander McQueen Fall 2022 Return to New York runway show is the idea of the prom dress. For any of you that had parents that went to high school in the 80s or aunts and uncles, I'm sure this silhouette is going to look very familiar. I'm sure you fingered through the family photo album and saw one of these dresses, maybe one or two. Also, maybe for a wedding, if you had any pictures from your family members from weddings in the 80s, this silhouette is so 80s and definitely gives me 80s vibe. And the reason why I sort of call it the 80s prom dress is because it was big, it was poofy, it was layered, and you know, it made it great. And I think it's one of those things that can be so dated, but they made these looks look very updated, very sexy, very, very chic. And I wouldn't mind wearing one or two of these to a cocktail party myself. So the first look I love, because again, it really just sort of gives you that layered ruffle look, but this is really cool with the placement of the colors. I love how it looks so unintentional, but intentional at the same time, if that makes any sense. And the way that it's strategically placed just is so flattering on the model, and it looks so good. The length of where it's hitting her on the leg just really gives it a little bit of a sexy vibe. It almost feels short, but not too short. This next one is in a similar silhouette, but just really giving you that vibrant lemon lime yellow color. And this one definitely gives it just a little bit more elegance because it's at a longer length. This one goes down to the ankle, and I love that it's giving you a little leg. She's giving you a little leg and taking it right back. But again, this color looks amazing on this model. This vibrant yellow color really just stuck out. You know, like I said, the overall mood in the presentation room, from what I can see in TV, obviously I wasn't there, but the overall mood in the room was almost sort of dark, and again gave you sort of this foresty feel. So whenever you saw these bright greens or bright oranges sort of come out, it really just illuminated the runway. And this was one of those looks that really just illuminated and just sort of made your eyes pop out. And then this last look is quintessential 80s. It's giving me girls just want to have fun. All the tulle, I just want to play in the tulle. I don't even have the dress on, but I want to play in the tulle. It just looks so much fun, and it looks like a really good time. I could see this in a music video. Again, another look that is just very editorial, and I can't wait to see some of the magazines pick some of these up and some of the red carpets and see if any of these make it to the red carpet. But I'll be really excited to see how these looks sort of evolve over the next season. So this last theme really gave me 80s vibes. So I know the biker jacket is pretty much a wardrobe staple. I'm sure it's become as common as either a jean jacket or like that simple black blazer. I actually have a few different iterations of the biker jacket myself in my closet, and I think it is one of those pieces that automatically just sort of edge up a look. As I was saying earlier, I was one of those girls that sort of hated the traditional suit, so I would definitely wear, you know, a work shirt and work pants and then throw a moto jacket over it, which really just, I feel like, makes any look cooler. But we're going to talk about it today because I love a good moto jacket. And again, this is just one of the themes that really gave me 80s vibes. The first look we're going to talk about just takes the biker chick to a whole nother level. It's a moto jacket, but it's a dress. Can't get no better than that. It still has all of the details that we love about a moto jacket, the zippers, the belt, and it's in a dress style. Come on, you gotta love that. The next look definitely gets an honorable mention and definitely had to be on this list because, again, who doesn't love anything cropped? Anything cropped I love. You can wear it cropped and sort of show off a little bit of skin, or you can wear it cropped look and wear something really, really layered under it. I think there's so much that you can do with sort of a crop look. What makes this jacket really cool is where that zipper is placed. It's almost sort of placed more to the front. I could also see this with an opera glove that goes all the way up the arm with that crop look, and then with the zipper open to show a little bit of that skin detail. I think that this is a great, great look. I think I subconsciously saved this look for last, or consciously saved this look for last, because this is literally my favorite look of the entire show. It just gave me so many elements. First of all, that biker jacket look. I love this because I don't have one like it. It's giving me that off the shoulder look, and I do that on purpose with a lot of my jackets, that I'll buckle it and tie it and then try to caddy it off the shoulder. But the fact that this jacket is engineered that way is just amazing. And again, where we talk about how the left side isn't exactly like the right side, so you can see that little sort of imperfection in the symmetry of the jacket. And then let's just get into this dress for a second. Like, the dress kind of takes a back seat to the jacket, but no, it doesn't. It takes a front seat because I actually want this model to open that jacket so I can see what this dress looks like in this, this mesh material, which is giving you a see-through moment, and the way that this fabric is strategically placed. I can already tell, even though it's under the jacket, that it's sort of hugging the body right. I love the tank silhouette in the top under there. Like, I'm literally trying to peel back the jacket with my imaginations because I want to see what that dress looks like. If anybody knows Sarah or any of the PR people over at Alexander McQueen, call me. I definitely want to see that dress. I definitely think this is one of the more editorial looks for the entire show, and yeah, I would like it. Please, my birthday's coming up. I would like this look. Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you would agree with anything that I said in the video, please comment down below. Also, if you disagreed, I welcome disagreement too. Let's have a discussion. Let's have some banter. I love to hear what you guys think. Also, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more content, and I'll be covering lots and lots and lots of more runway shows for this season. Thanks for watching.